The world is in the middle of the mother of all bubbles. We see bubbles everywhere, all due to the insane monetary policies of virtually all major central banks in the world. It all started in the Great Recession of 2008. Central banks around the world pumped massive amounts of money into the global financial system to support the housing market, the near bankrupt banks, and the economy. It kept the banks alive, but didn't do much else for the people. But it also funded profligate spending by governments. But it didn't cause inflation because little or none of the monster money supply boost made it into the economy. It went entirely to buying federal government debt. This is what basically happened all around the globe. Interest rates were dropped to nearly zero, so a borrowing binge began in the corporate and government sectors. Consumers had learned a big lesson in the housing crisis and spent the next 10 years making their balance sheets more durable. They paid off trillions of dollars of debt and were in good shape when COVID hit. But the easy money caused governments and corporations to borrow money at unprecedented levels. Much of the corporate borrowing went into expansion and business investment. That's good, and it helped the economy move forward. Another large chunk of their borrowing went to stock buybacks that were a major contributor to the huge bull market that we had. Governments loved the cheap money because they could run budget deficits and not have to raise taxes, which is always unpopular. So they went on a spending binge. I put out a now famous report in March of 2019 saying there was a financial crisis coming in March of 2020. We hit the financial crisis that crushed business and caused massive unemployment a year and a half ago. The purpose of a financial crisis is to liquidate the malinvestments and stupid behavior of the previous boom cycle. Unfortunately, central banks doubled down on stupidity and increased money supply up to 8 times its previous level, and governments plunged into deficit spending that would make a banana republic blush. So that made the next financial crisis worse than it would have been. Global governments put themselves into a situation that was untenable. And we've seen that over and over again. We saw global governments put healthy people into quarantines for the first time in human history, and that crushed the economy a year and a half ago. Not sick people in quarantine, but healthy people. At the same time, central banks decided to mimic Banana Republic money policy and sent interest rates to zero and beyond. Not only that, but they vastly increased the amount of money supply. They basically said to the economy, we have all the money you want and it is free. And many people have taken advantage of that. We now see more bubbles in existence than I have ever seen in my 50 years of market operations. Number 1, the bond market. Number 2, worthless cryptos, non-fungible tokens, meme stocks, margin debt at all-time highs, retail investors buying stocks like crazy, housing prices skyrocketing, bonds in the biggest bubble in bond market history. The list goes on and on and on. All caused by overspending by governments and mainly by central banks handing out $100 bills on the street corner in every country on earth, or at least it seems like that. Look, I'm a speculator and a risk taker for a living, but I hate to see the retail public come into the market in the numbers and in the way they are doing it. Greed and FOMO are driving them, not rational thought. There's an old saying, the market will do what it has to do to screw you. The screwing has yet to start. I don't know exactly when it will start. It's smelling to me like maybe 2022. I'll let you know as soon as I figure it out, but it's smelling like 2022. But we will see a monster financial crisis like none before. Debt crushes societies. The only way it doesn't crush a society is to hyperinflate the currency, which is also awful, just in another way. We're already seeing inflation rising its ugly head. No, Mr. Powell, inflation is not transitory. I'm going to leave it right there for now, but I'm going to be doing a series of these over the future in the next week, 2 weeks, and I'm going to be telling you more about the specifics of the next financial crisis. I'll talk to you later.